Hello, it's Dr. Jimmy again on this lovely evening. It's 4 minutes before midnight on the evening of Monday, soon to be Tuesday, November 13th, 2017. And it's been, in about a couple of minutes, it'll be 10 days. Yes, in a couple more minutes, it'll be 10 days after the last night of Halloween Horror Nights 27, the Festival of the Deadliest. And that lovely evening when they performed Bill and Ted's excellent Halloween adventure for the very last time in the farewell tour. I'm all in red. Let me show you. It's this Doctor Who Oswald the Lucky Rabbit crossover because of Clara Osborne, right? Clara Oswald Osborne, or is it Osborne Oswald? Whatever it is, it's Clara Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Sort of Disney Who crossover. Clever. Now, I am sitting here there, and this is the last cocktail video for Halloween Horror Nights 27. The final cocktail video. The farewell cocktail video, if you will. And I had meant to do this before the event itself ended, but unfortunately it was not to be due to nasty virus, nasty cold bug. And I've never done a cocktail for a show before. I've done house cocktails. I started in 2011 and I did house cocktails every year, and only last year, 2016, did I start doing scare zone cocktails as well. And I'm not doing one for Academy of Villains, don't even think about that. But I am going to do one now. What would be an Academy of Villains? You get a cocktail, very nice, and set it up on a table, and then get a very powerful fan and turn this electric fan on, and it blows the cocktail glass over and spills it all over. But it's still delicious when you lick it up. That's kind of rude. Never mind. The Academy of Villains Irma show this year, right? No, we're not doing Academy of Villains cocktail, but we're going to do a farewell cocktail for Bill and Ted's excellent Halloween adventure to commemorate the final performances of the show in Orlando. A farewell tour. Yes, be excellent to each other and party on dudes. There should be a little comma between the on and the dudes, otherwise it changes the meaning from party on dudes to party on dudes, which means something else entirely, although Wonder Man knows what it is. We got the meats! Yes, okay, now let's see. So what sort of cocktail for Bill and Ted's? Well, I thought something for Bill S. Preston, Esquire, and something Bill S. Preston, Esquire, and a different cocktail for Ted Theodore Logan. Yes. What would they drink? Well, from what I've been able to see, the first movie, of course, they're under drinking age, because they were still high school students. But in the Wild West, when they met Mr. the Kid in a saloon, they had some beers, and they weren't even carded, dude. And in the next movie, Bogus Journey, apparently their legal age, at least in California in 1991. I don't know if the age in California was 18 or 21. And it's conceivable they might be 21, because if they were, say, 18 years old in 1988 when the first movie came out, well, do the math, they'd be 21 by 1991, wouldn't they? Yes. So they're drinking beer in that movie, and it's a bottled beer. And I don't remember what type of beer it was. It might have been Pabst Blue Ribbon. It might have been, something like it might have been something like Miller or Coors or whatever. There's probably some ordinary beer. It might even have been a local brew in California. Is there a San Dimas beer? I don't know. Now there probably is, because everywhere's got a microbrew now, but we're talking back 80s and 90s. It wasn't so prevalent. And dudes like Bill and Ted might not have found too many esoteric beers. But they might have liked Primo from Hawaii, but I don't know if that was still being brewed back then. It was brewed like in the 70s in Hawaii, and then it stopped, and they revived it, I think, later. But it was brewed in California. Wasn't as good as the original made in Hawaii, with the purest drinking water in the world, practically. That filters through layers and layers and layers of lava rock until it forms into an artesian subterranean chamber filled with, the aquifer under the island. And it's the purest drinking water from that aquifer, because it filters, as I said, rainwater in Hawaii, where there's very little pollution. And that rainwater filters through so many layers of lava rock that any impurity it might have been there at all is completely gone by the time it gets to the aquifer. So it's some of the best water in the world. And it's used to brew Primo, the amazing beer. Well, it was, and then they stopped brewing it there. There's new Hawaiian beers out now. I don't know if they're actually brewed in Hawaii or brewed in California. They put the label on them. I have no idea. So I thought about he might have drank that, but he might have drank something else entirely. What would the dude drink? And I thought, for Bill S. Preston Esquire, a beer would be a good idea, because he seems like the dude that would just have a nice cold one. So I went to a local liquor store, and I thought, I'm not going to get some mundane, mass-produced. I'm not going to get Miller or Coors or one of those. Let's get something interesting. Probably a can rather than a bottle. And there's so many little microbrews and things, mostly from this area. And if Bill were in Florida, say, making an excellent Halloween adventure in the iconic Fear Factor auditorium, he might pick up a local beer while he's there to have a cold one. So I was looking at all the different beers, which would be the one that would appeal to Bill S. Preston Esquire the most. And I didn't see any 69 Dude Ale or, or Station, stout or anything like that. So what would it be? What would he drink? And I looked at many different possibilities and pondered. But then I also thought, you know what? Bill and Ted aren't the only ones in this show. The Grim Reaper's there. Death himself. He should be in on this somehow. And I realized, yeah, we can do that. We can bring death into the equation by picking a beer that invokes him but would still be something Bill would like to drink. And with that in mind, I kept looking, and I was thinking of one of those rogue dead guy ales or something like that, but I didn't see that. Then I saw the perfect choice. And this is by, it's from Colorado, and it's by Oscar Blues Brewery in Colorado, and it's allegedly an Irish porter, which is sort of a, it's not as dark as a stout, but it's darker than an ale. But it's called, and I love this, Death by Coconut. So it's like death. Your kid looks like a coconut. So this would be perfect. Of course it would be. And so I figured this would be the brew that Bill might drink of all the ones I saw in that shop. So I said, damn, we'll get that for Bill S. Preston. So in honor of Bill S. Preston Esquire, I don't know why he's called that, because he's not a lawyer. Here is a lovely can. It's not really a cocktail, but this is what I'm going to drink in his honor. Death by Coconut Irish Porter from Colorado by Oscar Blues Brewery. I'm getting notes of chocolate and coconut immediately, but chocolate first. But coconut's subtle. It's not sweet at all, mind you. You think it might be sweet like a chocolate milk stout. It tastes like beer. Has a bitter aftertaste, a hoppy taste, but it's got a creamy undertone. And definite notes of chocolate, like bittersweet chocolate, but not sweet. It's not. There's no sugary flavor in it. It's not like candy. But you ever have mole? Holy moly! Well, mole is a Spanish word for sauce, basically. I thought salsa was word. Well, a kind of sauce, like something that's more like a paste or whatever. The most famous mole of all, you know, guacamole. That's avocado mole. That's what it is, actually. It's, you know, made with avocado. But usually when it's just mole, it's made with chocolate, but unsweetened chocolate. There's no sugar in it at all. It's bitter chocolate and mixed with hot spices. So the old Aztecs down in Mexico, which is just south of San Dimas a little ways, because California was Mexico once upon a time before we took it from them, along with Arizona and New Mexico and Texas, and a whole lot of that part of the country was all part of a bigger country called Mexico way back when, which was owned also by the Spanish at one point and also by the French at one point before we took it, parts of it, and then we gave part of it back, but we kept the parts we liked. So there's connections there. And the old Aztecs, they invented chocolate, or rather they discovered it. And when Cortez came and said, "Oh, damn, the stuff they're drinking is awesome," but it was not sweetened. It was filled with hot peppers, but it was like incredible drink that felt, you know, caffeine, you know, kicked in. Oh my God, this is powerful. And of course, he took it back to Europe and they put cream and sugar in it and made it sweet, but it also made it even more wonderful. But the original natives put hot pepper in it and ate it that way. Even today, although they no longer do that so much, but when the mole sauce doesn't have sugar, but when they have sweet chocolate, it usually has some other spice like cinnamon mixed with sugar. So if you have Mexican chocolate candy, it usually has a spicy flavor besides the chocolate because it's got cinnamon mixed in with the sugar as well when they make it. Mexican chocolate is awesome, by the way. And so it does have that sort of richness like a mole enchilada. If you go to Antojitos, try the mole enchilada. It's delicious. Over in City Walk. But this not really sweet. The coconut notes also are not sweet. If you've ever eaten coconut right out of the shell or toasted coconut out of the shell, it hasn't had any extra sugar. It's not sweet at all. Sometimes it's hard to, you know, it's like having like a piece of a large nut, you know. And so it's got that flavor. It's got a certain, it's hard to describe. It's almost acidic sometimes. And it has those definite notes. Quite amazing. Quite amazing. Death by coconut, by the way, is a real thing. I lived in Hawaii for many years. I grew up there. And you have big, tall coconut palms that go up, you know, oh God, 20, 30 feet sometimes. Well, at least 20 feet. That's 2 or 3 stories, right? Yeah, 30 feet. And sometimes they're loaded with big, heavy coconuts. You know, they're heavy. They got liquid in them. And it's illegal not to go by and trim them off, because if you don't trim them off, and they have these big, like, crane things go to trim them off, eventually they're going to fall off the coconut trees. And, you know, people walk up and down the street underneath them. And if you don't, they're going to fall down, hit you in the fucking head. And then you could die easily. I mean, they're fucking heavy. It's like dropping bricks or boulders onto someone's head. You don't realize how heavy. It's, you know, you see the little coconuts in the supermarket. It's like this little thing like this. But that's not the whole thing. There's this great big, huge husk, and it's like, it's softer in the inside, but it's hard on the outside. It's a great big big bowling ball-like thing falling on your head, and it's heavy. And you have to tear all that husk off with a machete, hacking at it, and rip that off to get to the little piece inside, which is a lot lighter, but then you crack that open and the water comes out. Not, I say water because it's not like milk. Doesn't look like milk. It's a slightly cloudy, clear liquid. Coconut milk is made actually by grinding up the flesh of the coconut and making sort of puree out of it, and that sweet drink that looks like frothy milk is not actually inside the coconut itself. It's more like a clear liquid, like cloudy water, like soapy water. That's the kind of way it looks. And if you drink it, it's not sweet at all. It's kind of interesting, but you don't want to drink too much of that coconut water unless you want to spend the rest of your day sitting on a toilet, because it's a powerful laxative. Hawaiians swore by it when they have those problems, Those things aren't moving problems. They knew that. They know how nature's medicine works. Now, getting on to it. So this is for Billis Preston. It's actually really good. Now, Ted Theodore Logan. This we really have to evoke the islands of Hawaii, because I was thinking for Ted, something that appeals to his personality. Now, especially as it was in the show, because in Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure, especially the past several years, from 2008 all the way up to 2015, we can skip over 2016 when there was a certain shaggy actor playing the role. But then in 2017, who came back for the role? Jason Ryan Perry. Yes, the actor that most people nowadays associate with Ted at Horror Nights, even though a lot of other great actors have played him, including a different Jason, Kevin, James Keaton, of course, and Robbie, and I think it was Robbie and Tony, or I can't remember their name right off the top of my head. Tommy, Terry, something with a T. Tony, I think, and a guy named Robbie who played or was that the guy who played Bill? Anyway, there were two different Bills and two different Teds in 91. James Keaton was in the show playing Doc Brown, but then he took over as Ted in 92. Yeah, Horror Nights started in 91 as Fright Nights, but Bill and Ted started in 92. That's right. 93, the second year that had Bill and Ted, James Keaton became Ted, and he was Ted like to 97 or something, or 98. No, I think it was 97. 98 was Mr. Furious, I think. Was that 99? One of those years he was like an ape from Planet of the Apes, the Tim Roth evil ape, and then another year. But enough of that. And eventually became Jack the Clown, of course. But he did Ted for years. He was a Ted, for many, many years. He was like even though I saw the other actors the first year, 93, 94, 95, he basically became my Ted. Just like, First Doctor, if you're a David Tennant Doctor Who fan, or a Matt Smith Doctor Who fan, usually it's the one you saw first, and you sort of say, oh yeah, the Doctor's awesome. And then the next guy comes, oh, he's not as good as the guy I liked. Me, I'm a John Pertwee Doctor Who fan, because he was Doctor Who back in 1970 when I first discovered the program, when I was a little kid. So all the amazing Doctor Who's over the year, for me, my Doctor will always be John Pertwee, the third Doctor. What you talking about, Doctor Who? It's supposed to be Bill and Ted. He's a time traveller. He travels in a booth. Connection. The Doctor's been in the show more than once. Come on. Connection. Like Dirk says, everything's connected. He travels through time too. Dirk and Todd, are they the new Bill and Ted? Dirk and Todd's Holistic Adventure. That's what we're having next year. No, kidding. Some of you don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, but that would be an awesome fucking show. Not as good as Bill and Ted, I suppose, but would it be awesome? Dirk and Todd's Holistic Halloween Adventure. Everything is connected. hopefully some of you know what the fuck I was talking about, because that would be freaking awesome. All right, getting back. You're a nerd, Dr. Jimmy. Yes, I am. So, getting back to a Ted cocktail. I wanted to evoke the actor best known as Ted, James Keaton, Ryan Perry. Well, in a way, Jason is known very well as Ted, especially in recent years. He sort of let us know through little humorous asides, usually ad libs, that Ted may be a bit more freer in his gender and his sexuality than we might have originally noticed. They were always in the original programs, not at Universal, but on the movies, Bill and Ted, and they'd hug each other when we thought they were dead, and then, fag, which is really homophobic and awful now, but it's funny because, there's no malice in it, especially because they're both saying that to each other at the same time after they both hugged each other. So it's like, and there's no malice or homophobia, and Bill and Ted wouldn't be homophobic except in a certain dumb surfer boy from that, or skater boy, whatever the hell they are. Because San Dimas isn't located anywhere near the damn ocean. Hope you realize that. So they're really not surfers. But whatever, these dudes in it's not like Malibu. It's quite different. They have awesome water. There is an awesome water park. One of the best, I forget what it's called, River Rapid or something, but it's one of the best water parks in all of California, if not the best, is located in San Dimas. It's not called Waterloo, which in England sounds like a toilet, but as well as being with Napoleon, but a loo is but it's Waterloop, yes, but it has a different name. I forget what it was, something about rapids or something, or river, I don't remember, but I could look it up, but I don't want to, so I'm not going to bother. You can look it up, Google it, San Dimas Water Park, you'll find it, and it's supposed to be one of the best in the world, so at least the best in California, and so that part is accurate. But it's like when Ted said that, he was a fan of Twilight, even, there's all kinds of little things that suggest that maybe Ted is open to exploring parts of his sexuality that Bill's more uptight about, even though when he lost his virginity 69 times back in 2013, it was the whole damn cast to jump behind the bushes with him, men and women and Sharknadoes and everything else. So, yeah, Bill's had quite a lot of experience with alternate, whatever. And Ted did date Taylor Swift for a while, but who knows who else he's dated. Anyhow, so I wanted to make something a little bit less butch, because Ted is comfortable with himself. He doesn't feel threatened in his sexuality, and so he wouldn't mind drinking something that might look like a girly drink, like one of those tropical drinks with one of those little umbrellas in it. I couldn't find the umbrellas. I went and looked in the supermarket and at the liquor store. They didn't have little umbrellas. They might have it at Trader Joe's, but I didn't bother looking there. They probably don't. I don't know where you get those little umbrellas, but they didn't have them. I can't put a full-size umbrella, those little cocktail umbrellas you get in that, a tiki bar. So I wasn't able to do that. So I had to make a sort of Mai Tai, kind of tropical themed drink without the umbrella. Just imagine there's an umbrella in it. Use your mind. You can pretend. And if you try to recreate the cocktail at home, just remember that there should be an umbrella in it. Finish the beer, dude. Amazing. So, and there was something more. In addition to evoking Jason's interpretation of Ted, it also goes back to the original if I make a drink that evokes the tropics in Hawaii, because Hawaii is one of the ancestral homelands of the dude of dudes himself. Whoa. Yes, the great Keanu Reeves Hawaii is one of his homelands, along with Lebanon, Canada, and China, as a certain orange person likes to pronounce it. China. Hashtag Scrotus. Yes. Because his mum's an Anglo-Canadian, and his dad's a Chinese Hawaiian, and they had the baby in Beirut, Lebanon. That's where Keanu's born. So he's a native of Lebanon in the Middle East, but a Canadian citizen who lives here in America, and his heritage goes to Canada and Britain on his mum's side, and Hawaii and China on his dad's side. And after his dad ran off on his mum, he went back and reunited with his Chinese Hawaiian father in the islands. And of course he got the name from his Hawaiian heritage. Keanu is Hawaiian for the breeze in the mountaintops or something like that. It's Keanu also, I think, is the Hawaiian equivalent of an English name like maybe Gene. I'm not sure. Gene Reeves. No, George would be Keoki, so he's not George Reeves. So he's not Superman, although he was almost Superman. Because they thought about casting him when they were going to remake Superman. This would be Tim Burton's. And then he decided, no, he's going to have someone else. I don't know. Was it going to be Johnny Depp? It was going to be somebody weird, but then he changed his mind and didn't do Superman. No, I think it was Nicolas Cage or somebody in a black suit. And it was really awful idea, and thank God it fell through. Because when they did Superman again with Brandon Routh, it was closer to the classic. And then, of course, we have the new one with Cavill. Oh, careful, don't step on the cocktail, pussy. Silly pussy. So, and then Superman's been in a few Bill and Ted's too. I'm not worthy of this emblem on my chest. Rip. And then all the girls faint. Ooh. So, I needed to come up with something that evoked Hawaii, which is also my ancestral, well, not really my ancestral homeland, but it's my homeland because I lived there for so many years since I was a little wee lad. After we left Japan, I was still a little boy, landed in Hawaii, lived there till I was a grown man, and then came to Florida. Because after having served in the military a little bit and not liking it at all, had a bad time, got out to the military, went back to Hawaii, then decided too small, too tiny, too isolated from everybody. I love this whole spirit of aloha in Hawaii, but I just had to find my way to reach the rest of the world because I wanted to see the rest of the world, and I had to live in another part of this country, but one that wasn't so fucking cold as North Dakota, where the Air Force had sent me. So I came to Florida, which is as far away from my parents as I could get, which was also a thing I needed at that time, and still be in the same country, as far away from Hawaii as you could get, and still be in the country. Was in the opposite side on Florida, but still kind of semi-tropical weather, which I could endure and not have to get frozen in my butt. Because I didn't want to be cold. So I did that, and that's why I'm here. But Hawaii is still kind of home to me. I have that aloha spirit inside. It's always going to be a part of me. I may be a haole, but I'm always going to be a local haole, even though I haven't lived there in a long time. And I'm not 100% Caucasian anyway. I wish I knew that when I was one kid living in the islands, because then I could tell the brothers, no act. I don't stay total haole, because my great-great-great-grandmother, Lara, she was one Chickahominy. So, I'm I stay shark bait though. Stay total shark bait like that. I can't do it as well as I did when I was a kid, especially when I've been so used to the fake British accent. But I can still get back to the lingo of my youth, the pidgin that we went speak back in the islands. So we have here something that evokes those wonderful days of my youth, and also a cocktail. Now I was thinking something like a Mai Tai. Got it, so half hour already, but I'm going to go for it. I don't know how long this is going to be. I did a video that was over 50 minutes one time, so I think I have time. I'm going to make here something like a Mai Tai. I've actually already made it, but it has to be unique. Because, yeah, you can mix a lot of different things, like a daiquiri or something, and put different fruit juices and different rums and make this traditional thing. Mai Tai actually wasn't made, I think it was made at Trader Joe's, which was originally somewhere in California or someplace. There's a legend that it was invented at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel in Waikiki, the Mai Tai bar, but I don't think that's true. It's a lot of fruit juices and rums and stuff, and it's really nice. And I'm sure there's some cocktails that were actually invented in Hawaii at some of those lovely bars, like some of those bars in Waikiki, at places like the Halekulani or other, the Royal Hawaiian, the Hilton Hawaiian Village, Rainbow Tower, all those lovely, lovely tropical resorts in Waikiki. The Ilikai, yes. I don't think that's a hotel, though. It's just, but I think it has a nice restaurant and bars and stuff in it. And, of course, the bar that still exists, but it's not what it was originally. Hula's Bar and Grill. Used to be on Kuhio Street, and they had this huge banyan tree. It was an outside bar, sort of, and this huge banyan tree grew up out of the middle of the building, and it was like filled the whole courtyard, and it was like there was a little bit of a thatch roof over part of it, and it was just the most beautiful little tiki Hawaiian bar you could ever have. Little fairy lights in the trees, which is quite appropriate because it was the gayest of gay bars. And I never dared to go in there the whole time I lived in Hawaii because I was so afraid that someone would see me. It's a small island, and report me to my parents or somebody. Hey, I went see Jimmy go into the gay bar, brah. Tell his dad. Tell his mom. No, don't let that happen. So I have to be careful. And so that was one of the reasons I moved so frickin' far away from my parents, so I could come out properly. In Disney World, what a better place to do it. Ha! Ha! The happiest place on earth. And we, even in Hawaii, we heard about cast members. You know, it gets around. Even as far as Hawaii, we heard about what goes on. Well, you know, all those people come back from the Polynesian resort that they brought over from Hawaii. They go back home and say, "Hey, brah, the Magic Kingdom is full of mahulara." No, yeah. All of them stay like that, man. All of them stay like that, brah. Not that there's anything wrong about that. Actually, the Polynesian culture is a very positive for gays, and they only learned prejudice from Europeans and missionaries. It was all ingrained in their culture. There was the mahu, which is more like a trans woman. But that was a man who lived in female row, sort of a drag queen. Our whole idea of that was part of Hawaiian culture. There was a place for that person in society, where people were in between. But there was also aikane, and aikane were masculine gay guys who liked other warriors who lived with other warriors and didn't really bother with the wahines. So there was the whole idea that it was actually built. In fact, according to Hawaiian legends, it was mahu, that is trans women, from a star, because they knew all the stars, and these people lived at that star, came down and taught the first bratas how for surf, that they were the original kahuna that teach surfing. In other words, trans women from outer space, extraterrestrial drag queens, taught the Hawaiians how to surf according to ancient legends. I'm not making this shit up. So it is actually, the original culture was very positive about LGBTQ stuff, even though some of those letters aren't even in the Hawaiian alphabet. L L's the only one. There is no B, G, T, or Q in the Hawaiian alphabet. There's a T in some Polynesian alphabets because some letters have fallen out. You go to like the older Polynesian tongues like Maori, and they have all these different letters. They have T's and S's and R's and whatever. But as you go to Samoa and Tonga, some of them disappear. When you get to Hawaii, they're down to only a couple of consonants. I mean, there's a K and an M and an N and a P and an O, and that's about it. You know, they have no S, they have no R, they have no T, they have no F. All these letters are very, very used a lot in many Polynesian languages. That's why you don't say talofa, you say aloha. You don't say aroha, you say aloha. Because we don't have too many letters left in the Hawaiian alphabet. All right, again I'm getting... By the way, my Hawaiian name is Kimo. Jimmy is Kimo. Kimo, that's why Doc Kimo. In case you ever wondered. Dr. Jimmy. Doc Kimo. Same thing, brah. You see, in case you ever wondered what that meant on my YouTube channel. So, make sort of a Mai Tai, but one that Ted would make. I am Ted. Yes, what would Ted make? Well, he wouldn't mix all these fruit juices together. He said, it's a Hawaiian drink with rum and fruit juice. Oh, I know how to make it. You put rum in Hawaiian punch. How'd you like Hawaiian punch? Oh, sure. Ah! Remember those commercials? If you're old, you do. I don't know. I've never seen a Hawaiian punch commercial in ages. It still exists. The little punchy guy who punches when he asks his friends, how'd you like a Hawaiian punch? Oh, thank you. And then he punches him. Yes, those were fun commercials. But, oh my God, that's violent. You can't teach kids violence. So I got Hawaiian punch and I put rum. But because it's a Halloween adventure, I put the pumpkin rum that I've used 2 or 3 times already. Yes, that Captain Morgan pumpkin blast, Jacko blast, in the pumpkin-shaped ball. So that's what's in here. It got quite about this much of the rum on ice. Of course, the ice has melted since I've been talking so long, and then poured Hawaiian punch on the rest. So that's what this is. So this is Ted's version of a Mai Tai because he doesn't know any better. And that's what we need here, because the great ones don't know how to make cocktails. They just know how to have fun and party and be excellent to everybody. So here it is, Hawaiian punch and pumpkin spice rum. And that's definitely not bad. It doesn't taste fuck like a Mai Tai, but it's definitely not bad. The classic red-coloured Hawaiian punch, the original Hawaiian punch flavour. Not bad. Okay, so we've had a drink for Bill, a drink for Ted. We got death into it by having his name on the beer. That was Bill's drink. So, who else do we want to? Well, I could, for Rufus, who appeared in the very last show, but was mentioned, you know, put an actual roofie into the cocktail. But then I'd collapse and couldn't finish the video. And I really would be history. Gentlemen, we're history. I would be. And that would be counterproductive. Because it's not productive to hit the counter. But I do want to have at least some other reference to the last show. So in honor of the great superhero, Wonder Man, not a woman, but man, here too. So he's not pushing some feminist agenda on you. Yes. And Bill's like, it's like a sausage factory in here. Dun, 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 we got the meats. Dick joke, yes. If we're going to do a Bill and Ted, damn it, we have to have a dick joke. And of course, the climax, the punchline when Gal Gadot came out and socked him in the face, is, you know, why did you replace me? My penis is so small. That's why you need a teeny weeny. Yes, we need a cocktail wiener. What else to have with a cocktail but a cocktail wiener? A little bitty one. That's just the actual size of Wonder Man's penis. Got a little couldn't find the decorative umbrellas, but I did find the decorative toothpick. Yes, a teeny little weeny. Oh, look at that little thing. Oh, he's so small. Oh, do you want that, Lenny? Oh, Lenny might. Ooh, Lenny might actually bite it. Keep that weenie away from the mean pussy, or she'll. Yes, that was a sexual innuendo. Could be. So, yes, in honor of Wonder Man and the Sausage Factory. We got the meats. Yep. So, having a real party now. We got wieners and cocktails and cats. Now, Lenny, if you could put on a Doctor Who outfit, a little bit of, like TARDIS underpants, and then bigger on the inside, and then sort of tweed in a little bow tie and do a little naughty dance while waving a sonic screwdriver around. You don't have a sonic screwdriver? How about this mini flashlight? No, you don't want to do that? Well, maybe you could put on a slinky red handmaiden dress with a sort of nun hat and go at people. No. All right, I know. Get a rubber chicken, a fishtail. You like fishtails, you're a kitty. And come out here and make friends with the water. But cats don't like water. Oh, yeah, you're right. Kitty wouldn't make friends with the water. I'm going to have another Wonder Man. Wonder Man! Because there's more than one in these jars. Anyway. You know I'm getting a little schlop when these wieners actually taste good. Because they don't normally. I think that's why they're called cocktail wieners. Because you have to have had a few cocktails before they're any good to eat. You know, it's sort of like reggae music. I'm not going to be culturally insensitive, but I never got reggae music. I listen to it and think, what is that? It's just not my thing, man. Until the day I went to Amsterdam, and I went to one of those little bars, those little coffee houses, where you can get something that's not exactly coffee. It's actually something else entirely, because you don't drink it. You just sort, you can actually get these little things pre-rolled and everything, all very nicely packed and lovely, and you don't have to worry about any sort of nasty shit in there that's not what it's supposed to be. No one's going to lace it with some additives or chemicals because it's legal. And so it's pure, wonderful wowie from Maui or whatever. And, and I had never indulged that. I don't normally do that. Rarely. It's never been something I felt any need to. Been to some parties where it was handed around, and so I tried it. Okay, no big deal. But I was in Amsterdam, and I thought, this is how can you go to Amsterdam and not do this, because that's what it's famous for, right? Besides, it's legal. And I can say that, So I was enjoying it, and I suddenly got the music that was playing in that room. It made sense to me in a way it never had before. And I think you need to get a little high in order to get reggae music, because it's composed and played under the influence in the first place, or at least it originally was. And so it makes most sense. Just like you probably understand 18th century romantic poetry only well if you're on opium. Not that I'm recommending that, but I expect, since a lot of those poets wrote it under the influence, that might make some sense. Weird. Because the Hawaiian punch came through really strong at the end, with that Hawaiian tropical punch flavor, and then suddenly, bang, cinnamon, because there was some spice flavour from the spice rum that's sunk down below to the bottom below the rum itself. Totally unexpected. So the cocktail's done, and there's still a few more wieners. I'm not going to eat them all. I'm done. I have to be. Because otherwise this whole video is going to descend into a wild sausage party, and that's not something you want to look at, is it? That's a totally different kind of video. I'm not going to be flashing anything to say, Wonder Man, because that would be totally rude, and you don't want to see that. God knows you don't. You go blind. So I'm going to say good night, farewell, at Wiedersehen. Goodbye to Bill and Ted. We loved Bill and Ted. They were such fun for 26 years, from 1992 to 2017. So many excellent adventures, so much fun. And I'm so sad I missed the last show that last night, because I was so fucking sick. Well, that's the breaks, Mum. And hopefully some bastard got some of that on film so I can see it. Now, I know some of the stuff that happened that last night I talked about in a different video. So, and hopefully I'll see more and hear more as time goes on. But this also concludes all the cocktail videos for Halloween Horror Nights 27. So we move now into the future, looking forward all the way to the event of Halloween Horror Nights 28. There won't be a Bill and Ted next year. There may not be a Fear Factor auditorium next year. But there should be some shows that should be simply amazing. Hopefully a really good Academy of Lynn show without interruption from any hurricanes. And something else as yet undreamed of. Dirk and Todd's Holistic Halloween Adventure. I hope so. Well, no, I don't think so. And there'll be haunted houses, scare zones, and all manner of fun. And maybe a really good icon this time round. We'll have to wait and see. And rumours are already starting. As early as it is now, people have come up with rumours, whispers, saying that, yeah, they're already looking at certain properties. They're already locked in, maybe 2 or 3 properties. How true is this? And what are the properties that they're looking at, and which ones are more likely to happen? If they are indeed looking at those properties, who can say? I know the mysterious Ifrit is making weird, cryptic statements that might point to certain properties, and I think I've guessed what they might be, but I'm not sure. And again, we don't know if any of these things will actually happen, because even if they think they've got it, we all know that things can go astray, especially over several months. Sometimes at the very last minute. So you're not quite sure at this early in the game what it could be. But we look forward anyway, and we wait and see. And maybe we'll find out something after all. Way back in like January or February, I don't remember which one it was, but early last year, Mike Aiello told us checkmate. And I was able to stop and think about it and think, holy fuck, it's The Shining. That's what made sense to me at the time, and it turned out I think I was right. Because we did have The Shining. So, you never know when we might get a clue from somebody not just someone like the Ifrit, but somebody from the actual, like Patrick or Mike or whoever else might be involved. Something that might be easier to decipher with a little bit of thought. And so we may find out something sooner than we think. And apparently there are rumors already circulating, and sometimes these rumors are more accurate than you imagine. We shall see. We shall see, hopefully soon. So we must look forward and not harp back on the past as much as we miss poor Bill and poor Ted. So we say aloha to our brothers and enjoy all the fun parties, enjoy and delight they've brought to us. But once something is certain, and by that I mean officially announced, and it was early as April, mind you. No, it was earlier than April last year. It came out in March. They announced the first haunted house in March last year. Before April. Before I even got my April Fool's gag out. They announced the haunted house last year. Therefore, it could be sooner than you think. And it'll be time for me to make another cocktail for Halloween Horror Nights 28 once they start announcing. So until then, I bid you aloha, mahalo nui loa, which means thank you very much, love and joy and peace, and of course, be excellent to each other and party on dudes, however you want to take that.